The story begins in the early 2000s in an Italian city named Naples. The city was filled with crime. A woman got her purse snatched off her without even knowing. People selling drugs to minors. There were even homeless people who had no chance in this city. "Excuse me," said two female voices. The blonde-haired protagonist turned around and saw two beautiful females. "Do you know how to get to the Church of Santa Chiara?" "Santa Chiara? Oh yes. Keep straight then at the first signal. Why?" The blonde male's sentence was cut off by the girls fighting over who was right until a stranger bumped into one of them. The main protagonist saved the girl who was bumped from a fall. "Are you alright, miss?" "Oh yeah, no trouble, thanks for catching me." The woman gave her attention to the stranger and said she was sorry she was in the way. "Whatever, move it," said the stranger as he stormed off. The main character saw the stranger had stolen the woman's wallet he bumped into. He managed to grab the wallet before the stranger could escape. "Excuse me miss, is this yours? You must have dropped this," said the main protagonist as he gave the woman her wallet back. "Thank you. You're the best, bye," said the woman as she and her friend started to leave. The girls began to chat about how handsome the blondie was. The girl looked inside her wallet but was missing some money. She was about to scold the blonde thinking he stole her money but he vanished. The girl was left bewildered about how the blonde disappeared without a trace. Elsewhere, the main character then bought ice cream for himself and a kid with the money he stole. While eating his ice cream, he started to enjoy the scenery of the city. Later on in the day at an airport taxi driver is trying to finesse his way into getting business by offering cheaper services. "Oh, how cheap are you offering?" asked an angry guy wielding a shovel. Luca," asked the taxi scammer wondering why he was here. The scammer was getting beat up by Luca. "I thought I told you about paying me before you start doing business," said Luca standing over the scammer. The scammer was begging for his life but Luca wasn't having it. As Luca was about to teach the scammer a lesson, he said that another person was breaking his rule as well. "Who is the rule breaker? Give me a name now," yelled Luca to the taxi scammer as he was getting prepared to beat the daylights out of him. The taxi scammer said two words, "Giorno Giovanna." After getting the name of the rule breaker, aka the main protagonist, he kills the taxi scammer. At the airport, the series' previous side character, Koichi had just touched down in the Naples airport. He was trying to take a taxi to a hotel. He was also looking for someone named Haruno Shiobana. Exiting the airport, Koichi sees Giorno showing two cops a trick with his ear folding inward. During the conversation, Giorno hands off some cigarettes to them stealthily. Giorno and Koichi see each other at this point in the story. "Hey, you need a ride?" asked the golden-haired kid. Koichi refused the ride after he figured out he was trying to charge him 10,000 yen, or in American $65. "I'm just going to wait for a taxi," said Koichi. Koichi's jaw dropped at the size of the line of people waiting for a cab. "You still wanna wait around?" asked the vampire prodigy. Koichi knew that he couldn't say no to the offer since if he did, he'd be waiting there for a while. "Fine, you said it was 10,000 yen? asked the Part 4 midget. "Yeah, and you don't have to tip me. However, you're carrying your bag," replied Goldilocks teen. As Giorno and Koichi were walking to Giorno's car, Giorno told him to put his stuff in the front seat and get in the back. After putting his stuff in the front seat, Koichi was about to get in the back seat when the car took off without him. Giorno was happy that he had just stolen a whole briefcase from the Japanese teenager. The entire car stopped dead in its tracks even when Giorno wanted the car to go. This is because Koichi used his stand, echoes Act 3, and its gravity power to stop the car. I told you to not mess with me, I'm getting my stuff. You're welcome to leave if you want. As Koichi got closer to the car and opened the door, Giorno disappeared along with his briefcase instantly. What the hell? Where did he go? How did he get away? He just disappeared alongside my case. He was here a second ago. He saw some cops on the other side of the street. Excuse me, do you guys know anything about that cab driver? Elsewhere, Giorno was admiring the view of a parking lot with the word, "Forel," on it until he heard something scraping against grass nearby. He turned around and saw Leaky-Eye Luca. Hey, are you Giorno Giovanna? The blonde-haired kid nodded in confirmation. Leaky-Eye Luca signaled him to follow him. We haven't met before, have we? Do you know who I am? Leaky-Eye Luca, you got into a fight not that long ago. You kept fighting even though you got pretty injured when you took a knife to the face. Ah, so you do know who I am. Sit down and have a chat with me real quick. Looking up at you is hurting my eye, said Luca. Giorno sits down by the crazy lunatic. So how old are you, Giorno? 15 years old. Whoa, you're a baby. Anyway, let me tell you something. Luca would then tell Giorno about how friendship is created with the 3T rules: trust, tolerance, and tribute. He would then get angry at him for interrupting him while he was talking and that he didn't get his tribute, aka money, from him. This is the point of the story where he orders Giorno to pay him, but he doesn't have any money on him, even after he took his wallet and the picture of his father, Dio Brando. He tried to kill Giorno with his shovel when he tried to swing at his head. At that moment, Giorno's stand would emerge from Giorno's body and punch Luca. This stand is the notorious stand, the world. The same stand of the adversary of the Joestar family, Dio Brando. The stand would block the shovel and punch Luca's face so hard, he'd die. You caused this yourself. No one else to blame. Totally useless, said Giorno as he walked away from Luca's lifeless body. At a random cafe, Jotaro was with Koichi and he asked him about getting a DNA sample from a guy in a picture Jotaro gave to him. He doesn't need much, just a small sample. He'll even cover his travel expenses for the trouble. Before leaving, he tells Jotaro that the guy in the picture looks a lot like him. Time has passed since Koichi began his search. He was offered lunch by one of the restaurants, but he refused the offer. At the same time, he noticed that there were a few women around a man at a table trying to hang out and drink with him. The man didn't want to be bothered and wanted to be left alone. When the girls left, he quickly identified the man as the same man who had stolen his briefcase. Hey, you, I know you. Where's my briefcase and what did you do with my passport? When Giorno realized it was Koichi, he tried to run, but the gravitational pull of Act 3 stopped him. Giorno took note of this and put it all together to figure out that he had the same power as him. At that moment, Giorno disappeared. This pissed off Koichi because this is the second time he lost to this guy. A couple of minutes later, he phones Jotaro on a payphone across the street. The conversation went something like this. Hello, Mr. Joestar, it's Koichi. Oh Koichi, did you make it to Italy? Yes sir, and I found the guy in the picture. Haruno Shiobana. Well, he goes by Giorno Giovanna and his hair has changed to blonde. He's a stand user and a strong one. He looks like a student but acts like a gang member. He got away from me twice by somehow teleporting away from me. I don't know what his stand ability is. He was teleporting. Did you manage to get a glimpse of the activation of the power, Koichi? No sir, it all happened instantaneously. Jotaro got a big pause to think. After a few seconds, the words that came from his mouth were, he might have the same power as his father, Dio Brando. After hearing this sent chills down Koichi's spine. Did you say, Dio, as in Dio of the stand arrow? Yes, he's the father of him. However, his mind was twisted and he did some fucked up shit. I have to kill him or else he would have taken over the world. I heard that he fathered a child. I needed to uncover the truth and figure out how much he took after his father. While we're on this topic, I spoke to a few people. His hair was black before but now it's blonde. He didn't dye his hair, it just changed. The picture's outdated now. It's a chance that Dio's pose must have recently awakened his standing power. But didn't Dio's body belong to a Joestar? His stand must be the same as my star platinum because of it. In the meantime, keep your distance and get some rest, you've been through enough. Do you think he could be an enemy, Mr. Kujo? What does your gut say? Well, he's not a threat or a criminal even though he stole my briefcase, so I can't say for sure. At this time of the story, Giorno was taking a train when he noticed a man dropping a coin. The man was wearing a white suit with black spots all over it and it had a hole near his chest. He sits down near Giorno and introduces himself as Bruno Bucciarati. He started asking questions about Leaky Eye Luca because locals said that they saw Giorno as the last person with Luca. He even tells Giorno that he can easily tell if someone's lying or not by how much they sweat and the taste of it. He tells Giorno that his purpose of being there is because of Luca's death. So basically everything goes the same with the interrogation up until the fight. And this is where the fight commenced. Bucciarati was using his stand power to beat the shit out of Giorno. The fight would normally go the same with torture until Giorno pulled out his stand. The world went to punch Bucciarati after deflecting his stand's punch. The world's punch was so strong that it felt like it cracked his skull a little. What the hell? This stand is so strong, it almost knocked Zipper Man's head off. It all makes sense now, you're the person who killed Luca, said Bruno. The Zipper Man tried to punch him again but he suddenly disappeared from his sight. What the hell? Asked Bruno Bucciarati mentally. Where did he go? Bruno turned around when his face was met with a fist. This temporarily disarmed Bucciarati as he held his nose in pain and he ordered Giorno to tell him at least why he killed Luca. It was an honest mistake, plus he was trying to kill me, said Giorno. Bucciarati didn't know that he was that strong. His stand was extremely strong and even though he can't tell what his stand's ability is, he can assume for now that it can somehow teleport. Zipper Man was blocking a barrage of attacks from Zawarudo. Bucciarati realizes that Giorno was okay with killing him since he was okay with it likewise. He had to get out of there or he'd be dead. Without any hesitation, he uses Zipper Man to get outside the train to make a swift getaway. This is bad for Giorno. He knows that if he gets away this could be bad news. Not to mention that if Bucciarati's friends found out he attacked and killed Luca. Without even thinking, he barraged the door open and started chasing after Bucciarati. As soon as he caught up with Bucciarati, he teleported in front of him and barraged him with a ton of powerful blows before he hopped inside the guy's body to get away. At this point, Bucciarati is on his last leg and he can't do much. Giorno's stand's power is so potent and fast. He can hardly even do much against the powerful foe. In Bucciarati's mind, he's panicking because he's about to be killed by the powerful stand user. As Giorno charges his last punch, Bucciarati closes his eyes, waiting for the final attack, but it never comes. Instead, he sees Giorno walking away with nothing to say at all. He asked Giorno why he didn't kill him and Giorno only said, "You're a good man and a good soul. When you attacked me, you hesitated, so I stopped my attack. Giorno tells Bucciarati that he's a lot different compared to other mafia members and that he doesn't have it in him to kill Giorno. He wants Bucciarati to join him on his quest to kill his boss so that he can become the boss of the mafia. He wants to work his way up to take back the city and change it, but to do it he needs to become a primo mafioso. This angers Bucciarati because it's a risky job, plus he has to allow Giorno to join his crew, but Giorno doesn't care about it that much. Bucciarati changes his mind because he respects Giorno's main goal to help others. He decides that he's going to help Giorno, but if he gets caught and his plan gets found out about killing the boss, he'll be forced to kill him. You'll find out that our organization, or the Passione, basically runs everything in the city. However, that's not the boss's name at all. Nobody knows how the boss looks or what his real name is, said Bucciarati. Bucciarati then says that the orders are passed down from the boss to the lieutenants. He then tells Giorno that he needs to talk to Palpo, his capo or boss who was convicted and now serving jail time. He's actually in prison, however he can leave if he wants to but chooses not to for some reason. Giorno needs to pass all of his tests in his interview and not be found out by Palpo. Now, let's get inside the prison. Everything goes the same with the interview and with him getting the lighter task. It was quite easy to prove his worth because he stole money and a security badge from the woman who patted him down by using his stand's secret ability. Now, Giorno on his way out with the lighter uses his secret ability to hide the lighter. I will now explain how he did this, using his stand the world. He freezes time, which freezes every one of the prison guards. While time was standing still, he hid the lighter in his hair, and what I meant by this is after he got patted down and after the female officer demanded that Giorno open his hand. He froze time and tied his hair around the lighter to keep it hidden until the frisk was done with. Now that he was outside, he took the lighter outside of his hair and started to walk home. So basically everything went as normal up until he reignited the lighter, releasing the Black Sabbath stand. However, this fight would go differently since Giorno has the world alongside him. This creates a major advantage for Giorno since he can use time stop, but the only drawback is that he can't use it as much as he likes like his father can. Another reason is his stand's strength and speed. The world has the strength to destroy meteors and move 1,500 times faster than light, the same speed as the silver chariot stand. Every time Giorno accidentally stepped on a shadow, the world defended him due to its quick reaction speed. He can easily outspeed and beat the absolute shit out of the enemy stand. Basically, it's the same thing to the point even after Koichi is about to be killed. At that moment, Giorno called for the world and the time came immobilized again. He started breaking the wall of pillars that were blocking the shadow-bending stand from the sun. At that point, Giorno would barrage and beat the stand silly. So he makes short work of the stand in a quick amount of time. After everything that happened, Koichi wanted answers about why a stand user was trying to kill him and what kind of trouble Giorno got himself into. Giorno tells Koichi that he's part of an organization that he can't tell anyone about. The next day at the jail, Giorno brings back the lighter that he was given from Palpo back to him and he gets accepted into the squad. Basically, everything is going the same for the story. Let me explain how Palpo's death went. After Giorno got the badge of Passione, he froze time, grabbed one of his guns, and shot Palpo in the head. I don't think that Giorno would be found guilty since it would look like Palpo still committed suicide, so he gets let go. Koichi is still going to keep Giorno's promise since he feels righteous and the goodness within his goal. And now, Giorno is going with Bucciarati to meet his team.